The John Fugelsang podcast is now available 6 times a week with me, John Fugelsang. I've been murdered on CSI, picketed by Westboro Baptist Church, and hosts Tell Me Everything on SiriusXM Progress 127. You will hear authors, politicians, actors, filmmakers, rappers, rock stars, journalists, activists, unhinged callers, and way too many comedians. They all have a place on the John Fugelsang podcast, and so do you. The John Fugelsang podcast, fair and biased. Find it on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, or wherever you listen to pods.
Facepalm America, I'm Beowulf Rockland. Facepalmamerica.com is where you can go for more information, yada, yada, yada. 202-656-6271 is where you can give us a call. We can actually get your voice on this podcast if you want to. I know in this modern age of podcasts, that's not what we're used to, but I sort of have an abiding affection for the old days of talk radio when we actually did that. So if you want to call, we'll set up a time to chat, and then we can talk on the air. And we've done that a couple of times. Most people like to message, so you can message to 202-656-6271, and we will read it on the air if you would like us to. And again, hold on with us because we're going to have a couple of messages coming up. A sort of counterpoint, if you will. But a very good point that I thought was made after the debate. The debate. Isn't that how we all felt watching it? It's like, oh my God. I found myself saying that, like, so many times during that debate, especially, like, in the first half hour, but, like, throughout it. Like, the thing with the golf, the thing with, like, defeating Medicare, it was just the debate. Oh, it was too much. It was too much. and that is why we're engaged in this discussion right now. But I thought there was one particularly well-crafted response from someone who has been high up in the Democratic Party. A former Democratic National Committee vice chair wrote that leading Democrats must be pushed to urge President Joe Biden to withdraw from the 2024 presidential race, or history will judge them harshly. Our elected officials, wrote former Minneapolis Mayor R.T. Ryback on Facebook, are staying shockingly silent in public, especially considering how many of them acknowledge privately that this has to happen. And I would like to read the entire message that he posted on Facebook, because I think it sums up the situation pretty well. So again, here is former Minneapolis Mayor R.T. Ryback, former DNC Vice Chair, no stranger to Democratic Party politics. And here's what he had to say. Gretchen Whitmer would mop the floor with Donald Trump in a debate about abortion rights. Kamala Harris would eviscerate him for killing immigration reform. Pete Buttigieg, Gavin Newsom, and Amy Klobuchar would make an incredible case about what Democrats have done to protect the climate, end child poverty, improve our schools, and so much more. Trump would be no match for any of these or many other Democrats who could step in right now and win the election. Compare that to the disastrous debate you just saw. Those clips will be with us endlessly through November. The American people have spoken clearly that they don't want a choice between Trump and Biden. They don't have to, because we have a stable of great candidates who could not only get elected president, but make a compelling case about why other Democrats should get elected in critical races for Senate, the House, and across the country. President Biden got us out of COVID and an economic collapse and passed extraordinary legislation. He deserves tremendous praise. But a presidential election is not the Academy Awards, where you are rewarded for what you did. Elections are about the future, and Democrats have an inspirational message that is not being told while a convicted felon who tried to steal the election and end our democracy looks like he could win. Not a single thing about that will change unless all of us, all of us, demand we change our messenger. Taking the tough, immediate action we need to win this election is not about whether people like President Biden or think he has done a good job. It's like baseball. The pitcher should get credit for 6 great innings, but when they start giving up home runs and the World Series is on the line, sometimes you call in a reliever. The context has simply changed, and a lot more than the World Series is on the line. It is absolutely not too late to pick a new candidate. Hold 2 forums for candidates who meet a threshold, do a straw poll, and the delegates pick. A convention that right now almost no one would turn on would turn into must-see TV with Democrats trying to top each other on making the most compelling case. A 4-day infomercial on why to vote for Democrats. Having been a vice chair of the Democratic National Committee, I can say it is unlikely this would happen without a huge push from the public. You and me, right now. Our elected officials are staying shockingly silent in public, especially considering how many of them acknowledge privately that this has to happen. They fear political retribution, but they should really fear that if we lose this election because they didn't have the guts to do what they know needs to be done, holy hell and history will come down on them like an anvil. They need to be pushed hard and immediately to act. And know how many people support them if they do. Call their offices, circulate this, or write your own, but speak up now. Worrying about this with each other in private won't get this done. Imagine the Republican convention if a change was made. If we had a new candidate, they would lose the only talking point they have, and instead have to spend 4 days trying to actually say what they are for. Now that would be must-see TV. Those are the words of former Minneapolis mayor and ex-DNC vice chair R.T. Ryback. And I don't think I could possibly have phrased it better than that. That encapsulates why it has to be done, why Joe has to go, and encapsulates the urgency with which it must be done. Biden, he can't linger. If he does, it only benefits Trump. This has to be done, and we have to shift to a new candidate and focus on the message that needs to be gotten across. One, that the Democrats have a serious and much more positive plan for America than the Republicans. And two, that Donald Trump poses a clear and present danger to democracy and to the way we live in the United States of America. Bravo, R.T. Ryback. And, he's not alone. He's not alone. Very few office holders in the Democratic Party have come forward, but one has. One has so far, as of this recording. Representative Lloyd Doggett. A House Democratic lawmaker has become the first in the party to publicly call for President Joe Biden to step down as the party's nominee for president, citing Biden's debate performance against Donald Trump failing to effectively defend his many accomplishments. Representative Lloyd Doggett of Texas said in a statement Tuesday that Biden should make the painful and difficult decision to withdraw, which I'll remind you from the last segment, he's not doing. He's not doing that yet. My decision to make these strong reservations public is not done lightly, nor does it in any way diminish my respect for all that President Biden has achieved, Doggett said. Recognizing that, unlike Trump, President Biden's first commitment has always been to our country, not to himself, I am hopeful that he will make the painful and difficult decision to withdraw. I respectfully call on him to do so. He's the first sitting lawmaker in his party to publicly state what many have been privately whispering behind closed doors since last week's debate. Biden's weak performance caused immediate panic among even his most ardent supporters, leading many to question whether the 81-year-old career politician is the strongest Democratic candidate to take on Trump, the presumptive Republican nominee in November. He says a couple more things, and I want to get into them, but we need to take a quick break. We're going to do that. We're going to come back, and we're going to discuss this more. And in the next segment, we're going to listen to some of your words that you have sent me and what you think about this situation and whether Biden should step down. If you want a message, if you want to call, you can do that at 202-656-6271. Again, you can reach us anytime via facepalmamerica.com. Listen to past episodes. I'm Beowulf Rockland. Let's say it right, Beowulf. I'm Beowulf Rockland. That's the family name. And this is Facepalm America. Greetings, Facepalm America listener. Thanks so much for listening today. But did you know you could be getting even more serious news and comment? And some of the just plain silly variety too? Once you finish listening here, go to @FacepalmUSA on Twitter and download still more Facepalm America content. That's @FacepalmUSA on Twitter. Don't lapse into despondency. Save our democracy. @FacepalmUSA.
Hey everybody, it's Michael Steele, host of the Michael Steele Podcast. Each week I have a discussion about the key political and cultural issues of our day, joined by America's leading activists, experts, and academics for a conversation that transcends political boundaries. So join me each week as we work through real solutions, have honest conversation, and just keep it fresh. Listen to the Michael Steele Podcast in the Spreaker Podcast Player app, where you can also comment on individual episodes. New episodes available every week on